All right, we've got a quiz tomorrow, 7172, as you see. So let's kind of go through it. I did this with the other class, so let's do it with you guys as well. Let's do a quick review of all the things we have to find the area of, and then let's figure out what the formula is, okay? So now you can have it all in one place. I've been harping on that the last couple of days. You should have one place where all your formulas are. Now's your chance to do it if you haven't done it yet. For 7-1, what did we find the area of? Okay, these are all areas. Areas of what? What was the first one we did? Rectangle. Then we did one with a square. Then we did one with a, do you remember? Not yet. That was on 7-2. Parallelogram. Very good. All right, and then, what was the last one we did on the section 7-1? Nope. Triangle. Okay? We'll fill those in a second. So that was from 7-1. Then from 7-2, what did we do? I forget the order that we did them in, but I think trapezoid might have been the first one. And then we did, I forget, kite maybe was the second one. I don't know if that was the second or third. Doesn't make any difference, really. And then we did a rhombus. All right? So those are the, 7 different figures, polygons, that we found the area of. Let's write down what the formula is. So the area of a rectangle is, do you remember? Base times height. Okay? You've got to remember these, because I am not going to give this to you on the quiz. I mean, you're going to have to know it. Okay, I'm not going to write it down for you. You're going to have to know these, because there's times in math, you just got to memorize some stuff. All right. What about a square? Yeah, it's base times height as well. Or what's another way? What if they just give you one side? Side squared, right? So you could say side squared. Okay, if they just give you one side and they tell you it's a square, you just take that side, you square it. Isn't that the same thing as base times height? Because if it's a square, the base and the height are going to be exactly the same thing. All right? Okay, enough of that. Parallelogram. What's the area of a parallelogram? Sounds like a broken record. Base times height, okay? So look, all 3 of these, would you agree? All 3 of those have the same formula. So out of 7 things that we have to know, 3 of them have the same formula. So that helps a little bit. And triangles not far off from these right here. So how do you find the area of a triangle? Yeah, base times height divided by 2. Okay, or you could write it 1/2 the base times the height. It's the same thing. Okay, dividing by 2, multiplying by 1/2 is the exact same thing. Everybody good? All right. Trapezoid. Remember, the trapezoid and the triangle are pretty similar to each other. Okay? Oh, and I'll take it. I'll take your phone. Huh? You're like, I know. That's why I'm taking it. Because you're not supposed to be. Okay. I'll give it to, you can get it from Mr. Osborne. So I'll take it. You can turn it off so the battery doesn't die. All right? You can't have your phone out. You were tapping it. I saw you punching something on it. There's a clock right there. There's a clock right there on my screen. Owen, come on, dude. Come on. Here, give me your pass. I'm letting you go to the bathroom. Give me your pass. So you can get it from Mr. Osborne. There you go. All right. Where were we? Trapezoid. Remember, a trapezoid is kind of similar to a triangle. All right. Except a trapezoid doesn't have just one base. What's it have? It's got 2 of them. So what do we do with those 2 bases? We add them up, right? So area is equal to, A lot of times they write the trapezoid with the 1/2 out in front, kind of like this. But instead of one base, what do you do to those bases? Just add the two bases together. So we call one base 1, the other base 2. All right, and then times what? Times the height. Okay? Because that's the formula. All right? That's part of the formula. So you can't just add the bases up, multiply by the height. That's not the trapezoid. You got to divide it by 2. So, or, do I have enough room? Well, just do this. You add the bases together, you get a number, right? Then you multiply it by the height, and then you just take half of it. Okay? Or you could look at it like this. Base 1 plus base 2 times the height, and then do what to it? Divide it by 2. Either one of those, it means the same exact thing, doesn't it? All right, taking half of it, this is taking half of it as well. Dividing by 2 is taking half of it. All right? So you take the two bases, you add them up, multiply it by the height, and you divide it by 2. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention over here. What must be true about the base and the height for all of these? They must be what? Perpendicular to each other, okay? So all three of these, okay, when you have base, well, any of them, triangle as well, trapezoid as well, any of those, anytime you have a base and the height, they have to be perpendicular to each other. So that's very important as well. Didn't want to forget that. All right, let's go to kite. Now, they're going to give you the diagonals to the kite and the rhombus. So what's the area of a kite given the two diagonals? Yeah, you could write it two ways. Usually they write it like this. 1/2 of what? D1 times D2. Simple as that. So you take the two diagonals, multiply them together, and then what do you do to that? Take half of it. What about a rhombus? What's that? It's the same exact thing. You're right. It's 1/2 D1 D2. All right, so that's kind of nice. So check it out. Two of these, right? Well, three of these have the same formula. These two have the same formula. So really, and the triangle is very similar to the formula for a parallelogram, right? And a square and a rhombus. You just take half of it. And a trapezoid is pretty close to a triangle, isn't it? It's 1/2 the base times the height, except you got two bases and you just added two bases together. All right. You should have this in one place. Hopefully, you wrote it down. I can see that some of you did not, even though I told you to. Well, you're out of luck then, because you won't have that one place to go and look for your formulas. And that's very, very helpful if you are studying for this. If. That's a big if. Hopefully you are. Does anybody actually study for quizzes? Do you? Okay. That's good. 2 a.m. That's probably not good. I mean, it's good you studied, but 2 a.m. studying, it's not really good studying because you're too tired, right? Your mind's not working the way it's supposed to. So don't stay up till 2 a.m. I know you're probably just kidding with me, but you're dead serious? Yeah, well, like I said, you got to study when you're alert, when you're awake, when you're not tired. 2 a.m., everybody's tired at 2 a.m. All right, here we go. This is a rectangle. So this is number 1 on the quiz. All right. I'm not going to give you the actual numbers that are on the quiz. Let's just make up some numbers. So give me, what do you think this side is right here? 2? Let's go bigger than that. 10? All right, let's go 10. What do you think this one right here? That's longer than that. 20? All right, we'll go 20. All right, so let's find the area. Now, some of you guys saw me take points off for not showing your work. I've told you over and over and over again, even if it's as simple as just going 1 plus 1, I want to see 1 plus 1 equals 2. You got it? Now, that has nothing to do with this problem, but I'm just saying, if the problem says that, then you write it down. That's showing your work. So what's the work here? By the way, let's do this. Let's make this in inches. Oh, my word. Do you guys all just wait to my class to go to the bathroom? Is that what it is? I don't know if that's it. You got it's. That's exactly what it is. Say what? Yeah, and he had 5 minutes in between classes. They give you 5 minutes. The school's not that big, okay? You got plenty of time. You got plenty of time. I do it, right? I go to the bathroom between classes. I'll go up there, go to the bathroom, come back, and the bell still hasn't rung. So you can do it as well. All right, here we go. Enough of that. Tired of talking about the bathroom. Let's find the area. So let's show our work. Let's show our work. How would I do this? If this is a homework problem, I'm not even making you draw the picture for your homework, but at least, okay, yeah, you can start off putting the formula. So it is base times height, and let's put in the numbers. Base and the height, or what? It doesn't matter which one's the base. 10 what? 10 inches times 20 what? Inches. Okay? Let's do the math now. See, this is showing your work. When I say show your work, this is showing your work. Math teachers get made fun of all the time, especially on social media, where I've seen a lot of memes on social media, and they're making fun of math teachers about them making you show your work and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it's kind of funny, but it's important that you do that, okay? Because if you just wrote down the answer, how do I know how you got the answer? But you got to put something in a calculator, right? So I need to see, what are you putting into a calculator? You could use a calculator for this, but that doesn't mean you don't show your work. So show your work. Anyway, 10 times 20 is 120. Look, you multiply by 10, you take that 20, and what do you do to it? Stick another 0 after it. Okay, that's 10 times 20. So yeah, you may want to be using your calculator if you got 120 out of that in your head. Okay, inches times inches is what? Inches squared. So that is how you show your work. Just this little bit right here. That's all I'm asking on a homework, on a quiz, on a test. That's what I'm asking you to do to show your work. Okay? All right. By the way, the inches squared thing, that's just as important to me. Well, it's not really. It kind of is. It's very important. It should be just as important to you, because if you don't put the units, okay, put in the units, okay? I am going to. That's what I'm saying right now. So if this is number 1, and you wrote, if all you wrote was A equals 200, and that was your answer, what am I going to do? Boom. Well, I already minus 1, because I only take off 1 point anyway. But I'm going to mark it wrong. Everybody understand? And what am I going to do on your test? Okay, it'll be in red. All right, so I'm going to go like this in red, and then I'm going to write what? Inches squared. Look, everybody paying attention, right? This is super important. It might be the most important thing I say all class period, is don't forget the units. Okay, put in the units. Don't forget them, because if you do, if you just put the number, even if the number is correct, if you don't put the units in, I'm marking it wrong. Maybe the first thing you do when you get the quiz tomorrow, you put a little note at the top. Don't forget the units. Okay? Everybody hear me on this? It's in black and white. There it is, literally, black and white. Put in the units. Okay? Or you get a point off. Well, the whole problem wrong, which is just a point anyway. All right? Everybody got it? Okay, I don't know how many times I could say that. I sure hope you don't forget, because I would absolutely hate to mark it wrong if you did the problem right and you just forgot the units. But I am telling you that you need to do that. All right, enough of that. Let's move on. 2. It's a triangle. So let me draw a triangle. There's a triangle, and make it look like this. And here's what they give you. They give you this number at the bottom. Let's make up a number. Let's go like, I don't know, 18. All right? And then I'm going to make it in a color. On the quiz, it's not going to be in a color. It's black and white, but they'll show it as a dotted line. Okay, what is that red thing right there? That's the what? It's not a diagonal. It's the height. It's the height. Because the height is perpendicular to the what? The base. So what is 18? 18 is the base, all right? So I don't know, give me a number for the height. That looks a little longer than 18, so we'll call it 20, just to make it easy, okay? And they also give you these lengths. Now, I don't know if mathematically 9, 20, let's say this is 25 and this is 25. Now, mathematically, we could figure out what that should actually be. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to put a random number in there, okay? So this is the information they give you, and they ask you to find the what? They gave you the height. They asked you to find the area. Oh, by the way, let me tell you this. On this quiz, another way that I made this kind of easy for you is I asked for the area on every single problem, okay? So you remember some of the problems from the homework where they give you the area and you got to find the height or the base? I'm not even doing that. I should, but I'm not. I'm trying to make it as easy as I can for you with you still understanding how to find the area, okay? So there's no conversion. You don't have to convert from inches to feet. Everything's going to be in the same units the whole time. Speaking of units, let's make this centimeters. So that's centimeters. Everything's in centimeters, okay? And you got to find the area. Well, it is a triangle, so what's the area of a triangle? Space times height, what? Divided by 2. So let's plug stuff in. What's the base of this triangle? It's 18, okay? That's the base of the triangle. What's the height? It's 20. Why is it not 25? It's not at a right angle. Look at Josh just stepping in here and answering questions, okay? Did you? All right, good. All right, so there's your base, there's your height, divided by what? 2, all right? Now, you could plug this into a calculator. It's fine. You could go 18 times 20, then divide that by 2. Let me show you another, maybe a little quicker, easier way to do this. You can't always do this, but if there's even numbers and you're dividing by 2, you could always do this. Look, 2 divides into this, doesn't it? 2 goes into 2 one time. 2 goes into 20 how many times? 10 times, right? 2 divided by 2 is 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. Now you can do this easy. What's 18 times 10? 180. Very good. Now, what are your units there? Do I circle that and move on to the next one? No, why not? What did I forget? Come on, I said it like 15 times.
Area.
The units, it's right there. I talked about it a million times on that last problem. Don't forget the units. I said that over and over and over again. All right. So it's not inches squared. It's centimeters squared. Okay? Because it's not in inches. That's in centimeters. All right? Because I told you. It was in centimeters. That's how I know. Yes, of course. Okay? I tell you what those units are in. I didn't actually measure this, right? And measure it in centimeters. I just made up numbers and put the units next to it, all right? But in a real life situation, you would be measuring things, right? And you would be measuring using a certain amount of units. You might use metric, you might use feet, you might use yards, you might use inches, depending on how big the thing you're measuring is, all right? So there is your answer right there. And that's the only acceptable answer. There's nothing else that I would accept. You got it? All right, let's keep going. We got to move a little faster. Here's another triangle, but the triangle looks a little different this time. Oops. And this. What kind of triangle is this? As far as the angles are concerned, what kind of triangle is it? It's an obtuse triangle. Very good, because you got an obtuse angle, okay? So on an obtuse triangle, the height is not as easy to see, right? Right here, the height is from the top perpendicular to the bottom. But the problem is, I'm going to have to extend the bottom out to be able to go from the top to the bottom. Would you agree? Like, is this the height? Is this side right here? Is that the height? No, because it's not perpendicular, okay? So let's extend that out a little bit. And again, I like to make the height a different color. Obviously on the quiz, it's not going to be color, but it will be a dotted line on the quiz, and they will put a little right angle symbol there. Okay? Now, this isn't really part of the triangle, but it is the what of the triangle. It's the height of the triangle. And if this is the height, which one is the base? That one right there. Okay? And they tell you both of those numbers. All right? I don't know. Let's just make something up. Let's say that's 3, and let's say this is, I don't know, 4. Let's just say it's 4. Okay? And we got to find the area of that triangle. So, how do you find the area of a triangle? It's base times height, what? Divided by 2. What's the base of this triangle? It's 3. What's the height of the triangle? It's 4. And what do we do to it? Divided by 2. So that's 12 divided by 2 is 6, but we didn't put units. Give me a good unit. Let's say yards. All right, so it's yards squared. Okay? Simple. And I'm not just saying that because I'm the teacher. I get accused of that all the time. Mr. Hammer, you always say it's easy. Well, you're the teacher. You know how to do it. But would you agree that that is very simple? Yes. All right, let's do one more of these. All right, this is still from section 7.1. I'm going to make this look a little different. Like that. Okay? What is this thing? Parallelogram, okay? They give you the length of the bottom. I don't know. Say it's 20. And they give you... Now, is this the height right here? Is this the height? No. Where is the height? Just like on that obtuse triangle. The height is from the top perpendicular to the bottom. What's that? Doesn't have to be, no. But on the quiz, they will put it on the outside. Okay, you can have the height to go from here. Everybody listen. Hey, I'm up here. You could go from here perpendicular to here. You could have gone inside from there to there, right? But I'm just showing you how they do it on the quiz, all right? So this is what it's going to look like on the quiz. So this is the height. That is your base, all right? And they tell you what the height is. I don't know, just make up an easy number. That's a lot shorter than that. That's 20. Look, think. If this is 20, now I don't know exactly how far it is, but it's got to be less than 20, doesn't it?
10.
Okay, all right, let's go.
10 because I'm done.
Let's go 15. All right. All right. So let's find the area. Now, we need to know what the area of a parallelogram is. What is it? We wrote it down at the beginning of class. It's the base times the height. It's that simple. There's no dividing by 2 on a parallelogram. It's just base times height. So now that's super easy. What's the base of this? 20. What's the height of this? 15. Can you do that in your head or not? 15 times 2 is 30, but then you got that 0, so it's 300. All right. I didn't put units on here. Let's go millimeters. All right. So what's this going to be? 300 what?
Millimeters squared.
Very good. You're getting the hang of it.
1,500 millimeters squared.
It's not 1,500. All right. You guys worry me a little bit. All right. Now, the next, that was 1 through 4, okay? The next ones, 5, 6, and 7, they're going to give it to you in words, all right? And some people look at this, oh, no, it's going to be real hard. It's in words. No. It's not really a word problem, all right? It is words, and it is a problem, but I wouldn't consider it a word problem. In fact, I think it's even easier, all right? They tell you what figure you're dealing with. I'm not going to write out like every single word, but they tell you find the area of a triangle, and then they give you the base, and they give you the height. All right, let's just make something up. Let's say the base is 5, and the height is, I don't know, 8. Okay? Everybody with me on this? All right, it's in words. They use the word base. They use the word height. They didn't use just B and H. All right, so it says, find the area of a triangle whose base is 5 and whose height is 8. That's what they ask you to do. Super easy. They give you everything you need to know. So first of all, you got to know the formula. What's the formula? We've done it twice already today. It's base times height divided by 2, because a triangle, you divide it by 2. So now you put the numbers in. 5 times what? 8 divided by 2. 5 times 8 is 40, divided by 2 is 20, and whatever the units are. Okay, let's just say it's in inches, so it's inches squared. All right? Yeah, I tell you it's a triangle. So base times height divided by 2 is a triangle. All right? You got to divide it by 2 if it's a triangle. So that's easy, isn't it, when they give you the words? All right? On number 6, they say parallelogram. And you've already done these already on the quiz. But this time they don't give you a picture, but they tell you the base and height. It couldn't be any easier. All right? So they give you the base, and they give you the height, whatever it is. Let's make something up. 3 and, 7. All right? So what do you do with those? What's the formula for the area of a parallelogram? Oh, stop. Are you just doing that to be trying to be funny? I think he is. Nah, you're too smart for that. I think you know this, okay? Parallelogram is base times height, all right? Look at the things that we wrote down earlier. Did you write any of that stuff down earlier? Okay, I'm treating you as if you didn't really know it, but I think you did. I think you're messing with me. I really think you're messing with me. You should say you're messing with me because, anyway. Parallelogram, look, right there. Area is base times height, all right? There's no diagonals involved to find the area of a parallelogram. Josh. It's on the video. Just watch the video. No phones out, right? So look, base times height. So what is the base? 3. What is the height? 7. And I don't know what the units are. Let's go centimeters. So what is this? It's 21 what? Centimeters squared. If you don't put the centimeters squared, guess what? Well, you got to remember it, okay? As soon as you come in tomorrow, write it down on the top of your quiz, okay, so you don't forget. Don't forget the units. Write that on your quiz. Watch this video. I say it enough on this video, don't I? Yeah, that's wrong too. If you don't put squared, if you put centimeters, that's wrong. You got to put centimeters squared. You got to have that in there. Okay, you have to have exactly this. If that was the problem, you would have to have exactly this. Nothing less, nothing more. Got it? All right, 7's dealing with a square. Really haven't done a square yet today. So what if they tell you one of the sides of the side of the square is, 5 inches. Okay? And you got to find the area of it. How do you find it? Area of a square is what? Sides squared, okay? Or you could go side times side. It's the same thing, right? If you want to go side times side, that's fine. It's the same exact thing. So what is this? This is 5 what? 5 squared. What's 5 squared? It's 25. What are your units? Inches squared. And there it is. All right? And we got 3 more to do. This time they go back to the pictures. All right, so you got to be able to look at it. They even tell you what the figure is. Actually, on 1 through 4, they don't tell you the figure. All right, they just give you the picture. You got to be able to look at it and tell what the figure is. 8, 9, and 10, they actually tell you what the figure is. That's kind of nice. So, okay, this is a rhombus. So let me make it look like a rhombus. And let's get the legs to, do they look about the same? All the sides? Pretty close. All right. And for a rhombus, what was the formula for a rhombus? What did we have to include we haven't talked about yet today? The what? The diagonals. All right, so let's put some diagonals in there. There's our patriotic rhombus. Red, white, and blue. All right, so here's what they're going to do. They're just going to give you part of that rhombus. Okay, let's say that's, it's 5. All right, and then they're just going to give you part of the other diagonal. I say part of the rhombus. I didn't mean that. I meant part of the diagonal. And this is, let's say it's 3. And they're going to ask you to find the area of this thing. And that's all they tell you. Do I go 5 times 3 and take half of it? No, because is 5 the whole diagonal? Where is that? Where is the 5? The 5 just covers from this corner to where they meet right there. That's the 5. So what is the area of a rhombus? It's 1/2. Yep. Diagonal times diagonal. D1 times D2. Okay. So I got to find the whole diagonal. Is the whole diagonal 5? What do you think the whole diagonal is? It's 10. That's right. Because if that's 5, this is 5. If this is 3, what's this? Okay. And why is that? Because a rhombus is also a parallelogram, and diagonals always bisect each other in a parallelogram. That was last chapter. Okay, it was just the last chapter. It wasn't that long ago. Right? So if they bisect each other, you know that this and this are the same. You know that this one and this one are the same. Okay? So now, put the 1/2. What's the D1? Use the red one. It's 10. And then what's the D2? 6. And then what do we do? 10 times 60 is, 10 times 6 is 60. And what do you do to that? Yeah, divide it by 2. Or take a half. It's the same thing, isn't it? All right, and that is 30. Inches, whatever. We'll just keep inches. I'm tired of writing units down all the time. But everything's in inches. So my answer is inches squared. Okay? Yeah, that might be the trickiest one out of them all, but it wasn't that hard. If you realize that that's 5 and that's 5, you got to take that whole thing as 10. You got to take that whole thing as 6. Multiply them, divide by 2, boom, you got your answer. Make sense? Okay, we got 2 more to do. What are we missing now? So we did a rhombus. What haven't we done yet? A kite, and what else? A trapezoid. Let's do a trapezoid next. That's next on the quiz. There you go. All right, so let's do a trapezoid. What do you know about a trapezoid? It's got one pair of what? Parallel sides, okay? But they tell you, even in the problem on the quiz, they tell you it's a trapezoid. All right? So there's my parallel sides right there. And they also give you this right there. What do you think that red thing is I just drew? That's the height. Okay, and they give you both bases. So where are the bases? Well, that's one base at the bottom. Bottom and the top, that's right. Okay, the two ones that are parallel, those are your bases. Okay. I don't know, let's just make up some numbers. Let's say that's like 20. Let's say this is 12. Let's say this is 6. Okay, just making numbers up. Now, how do I find the area of this trapezoid? What's the formula? It's 1/2. That's right. Remember, it's very similar to a triangle, right? Trapezoid, triangle, they both start with T. It's very similar to a triangle. A triangle is 1/2 the base times the height. But this one doesn't have just one base. It's got, so you just add them up. So it would be what? B1 plus B2 times the height. So now we're ready to plug some stuff in. So it's 1/2. B1 plus B2. Add them up. What do you get? 32. Good. If you want to use a calculator, it's fine, but you should be able to add that up in your head. Times H, which is what? 6. Okay? Now, you could go 32 times 6. I don't know how to do that in my head. All right? Maybe if I thought about it for a few minutes, but you could use a calculator, but I could do this. Well, here's another thing I probably won't be able to do in my head. Well, you could do this. You could take either half of 32 or half of 6. What would you rather do? Yeah, but that's going to be 16. Do you know what 16 times 6 is? No. I would go half of 6. What's half of 6? That's a 3. So half of 6 is 3. Can you do 3 times 32 in your head? Yeah. 32 times 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 96. But you could use a calculator. All right? Remind me to talk about the calculator in a second after I finish the kite one, okay? So units. I don't know. Give me a unit. Yards. Okay, so everything's in yards. All right, so it's 96 what? Yards squared. Okay, let's do one more, then we'll talk about the calculator. Don't let me forget to talk about the calculator. About 5 minutes. All right, so now I'm drawing a what? A kite. This is the easy way to draw a kite. You draw the two lines, make sure the one is being bisected. If you do that, then you got yourself a nice kite. Okay? There's a kite. And here's what they tell you. I don't know, let's make up a number. Let's say that's 3. Let's say that's 7. Now, these two right here, okay, this shorter one right here, they're going to be bisected. Remember that? So they're both exactly the same. So let's make that 2. Let's make that 2. So this is what they tell you on the quiz. Everybody got it? And you got to find the area. So what is the area of a kite? It's 1/2. Same as a rhombus. 1/2, D1, D2. Got it? You have it memorized? I know. Guys, dropping like flies. 1, 2, 3, 4. I will not put it on the test. You have to memorize it. You can do it, yeah. As soon as you get the test, you can write anything you want on it, okay? But that might be a good idea. It might. I don't know. What I would do maybe is make sure you got it memorized, and then as soon as you get the quiz, go to each problem. Wherever you see a rectangle, put the formula. Wherever you see a triangle, put the formula. Wherever you see a rhombus, put the formula. You know what I mean? That might make it better than just putting it in one place. I don't know. Whatever works for you. So, what is this? So, yeah, one of the diagonals is 10, isn't it? See this one right there, 3 and 7, that's a 10. What's the other diagonal? 4. And now you just do the math. Super easy. That's 40. Half of 40 is 20 units. Let's go big. Let's go miles. Miles squared, okay? This is miles, 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 and miles to go before I sleep. Isn't that a poem or something? And miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. Isn't that a poem?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Ask, who's your English teacher? Ms. Burns? Yeah, ask her about it.
You have to talk about calculators.
Calculators, good. So, you can use a calculator. I've been harping on it today. All right, so use a calculator if you want to. You don't have to. All right, you might be able to do it without it, but I tell you what, it'd be a lot easier with a calculator. But no what? No sharing, and no phone calculator, and no sharing. Put a no right here. No sharing of calculators. Everybody hear that? Everybody see that? Okay, so make sure you understand that. Look, I'm thinking, I told the last class this, I'm expecting many 20 out of 20s, 100s. That's right, okay? I'm expecting some perfect scores on this, all right? You should not, listen, you should not be satisfied with anything less than 100 on this quiz. Every single one of you. There's no way you should not get 100.
So you're expecting me to get a 20 out of 20?
I am expecting it, yes. Okay? But you got to remember a couple things. What do you got to remember? Okay, remember your formulas. Remember your units. Make sure it's squared. Make sure you do all that. Get the numbers right. And you should be good. I'm expecting a lot of hundreds on this. Where's everybody going? The bell hasn't rung yet. Wait for the bell to ring.